average price of a home here in the US is about $487,000. Now, according to Sabre, the San Antonio Board of Realtors, the average price of a home here in San Antonio is $387,000. If you're thinking of relocating to San Antonio, Texas, then before you pack up, we're going to be answering the common questions that surprise newcomers the most, from property taxes to knowing what the weather is actually like here in San Antonio year-round.
Yeah, so by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to expect if you're thinking about moving to San Antonio. And the first question that we are going to be answering is how much does it cost to live in San Antonio compared to where I currently live, right? So we're actually talking to a wide range, right, of an audience.
Exactly. So anywhere from people from Canada to Florida to California, the list goes on. And so let's talk in general terms. So the average price of a home here in the US is about $487,000. Now, according to Sabre, the San Antonio Board of Realtors, the average price of a home here in San Antonio is $387,000. Already off the bat, that's $100,000 in savings if you were to move geographically, right?
Yeah, so it's definitely a substantial difference. But besides the price of a home, just everyday necessities, right? Groceries, gas. You're also going to find that San Antonio here is more on the more affordable side.
Right, we're actually 9% lower than the national average when it comes to utilities and things that Alyssa mentioned.
Sure, so definitely just in general terms, San Antonio is going to be more affordable. And as it's a really large city, we're like the 7th largest city. So the affordability is definitely there compared to other large like US metro cities there.
Now, it's hard to relocate sometimes, right? Because if you grow up in a certain location, then it's hard to imagine yourself moving, right? But across the board, what we find in talking to our clients, that their life changes in a more positive way if they just made one decision, which is just moving geographically, right? So where you're at now, we've had clients pay upwards of $5,000 a month for an apartment, where when they come here, it's like, well, they can actually afford a home, a full-size home, single-family residential for, let's say, $2,500 a month. Let's say on the high end, $3,000 a month. So, going from an apartment to an actual single-family home is quite the difference. And so, yes, I understand that we're here in San Antonio and we live here. We're slated to maybe talk how great it is, but we don't talk up things, right? We say factual. We try to say factual data compared to what's on the internet, compared to what's being done statistically. And we're just trying to make people aware that San Antonio is more affordable compared to a lot of the areas here in the U.S.
Sure, no, definitely all great points. And moving on to the next question is, how do property taxes compare, right? So here in Texas, it's no secret that we do have a higher property tax rate. The average property tax rate is about
2.3%.
2.3%, that's right. And so if you're living in another state that you don't pay property taxes or not as high of property taxes, then, moving here and kind of seeing that number may be a little bit of like a shocker or a surprise. But one thing that Texas does not have that other states do have is state income tax, right? So although it may be like a little bit of a surprise when you see that property tax rate, if you are no longer paying that state income tax, it's kind of like giving one for the other.
Now, if you are looking to have a better property tax rate, there are some available here in San Antonio, and those are going to be places maybe north of San Antonio, small cities like Bernie, Bulverde, and New Braunfels, where you can actually find property tax rates from 1.6 to maybe 1.9. That definitely beats the average of 2.3% here in San Antonio. But with those better property tax rates do come higher price homes in those particular areas.
No, definitely. So that's a really great point that you make, that although the average, property tax rate here is 2.3%, just because you are moving to San Antonio or one of the little surrounding areas, outside of San Antonio, that doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be paying a 2.3% property tax rate. So that's a really great point. And then just to give a little bit of, background context on the reasoning for, the higher property tax rate is because, like I mentioned earlier, Texas does not have any state income tax. So our local governments here just rely heavily on property taxes and sales tax in order to raise revenue for the state. But now that we have that information covered, I want to move on to the next question, which this is a good one. A lot of people ask it. It's how is the traffic and the commute times really here in San Antonio? So this is a big one to talk about.
Right. No. So it definitely ranges, right? So if you have a typical 8 to 4 job, 9 to 5 job, of course you're going to have the rush hour times in the early morning. So for us, it's about 6:45 to about 8 o'clock, honestly, all the way to those times. And then in those particular coming home hours or whatever,
evening commute,
the evening commute, that's going to range in about 4:30 to about 6 o'clock. And those are going to be the rush hour times for us.
Sure, that's when you can really find like the heaviest traffic. But also it's going to depend on the area that you're in, right? The side of town that you're on, where you're going to see more congestion compared to other areas, right? Just to give you an example, the far west side of San Antonio, Petrenko area, even Alamo Ranch, those are just highly sought after areas right now. There's a lot of new construction being built out that way. So a lot of people are relocating to these areas. So in the mornings, I think just any local will tell you here that those areas can get really congested in the morning. So you're definitely going to want to
Plan accordingly.
I'm sorry, I'm losing my words here. Plan accordingly and take in more time for your commute to work. So add additional time is what I mean.
It's hard to really pinpoint an area in which you can save on commute time and not see any sorts of traffic. Yeah. However, because of the influx of people that we have here in San Antonio and the growth of the infrastructure here within San Antonio, there's a lot of construction everywhere you go. So there's a lot of movement, and we feel the effects here, having to constantly look at our GPS, not that we don't know where we're going, but because we want to figure out what's the fastest way to get to our destination. Sure. Because of whatever time frame we're looking at. It is busy on the weekend, so it's hard to even want to travel in the afternoon time frame to local shopping centers. So maybe sometimes you want to go a roundabout way just to avoid any traffic.
Sure, and there's a lot of road construction just with that infrastructure that Frank was talking about. There's going to be a lot of, the city is trying to keep up, right, with the demand, with the population growth here. But of course, that takes time. So you are going to have like the temporary annoyances, if you will, right, with the road construction and a lot of traffic being backed up. But also, I think it just depends on you, right, and what you consider to be a lot of traffic and what you can tolerate. Because we also have had some clients from point. California come in and say, okay, this is traffic to you. This is really nothing to us.
I think their average time frame for a commute was about an hour and a half, which we thought was out of hand, right? Yeah. So for 40 minutes for us seems is comparable to an hour and a half, but if that's better for you, then, even more so, it's a positive right here in San Antonio.
Sure. But just keeping it real about the traffic here, you are going to see a lot of traffic, especially during those rush hours, especially just depending on what side of town you are living on.
Correct.
But okay, so moving on to the next question is going to be, what is the weather actually like here year round? And do we have 4 seasons?
Yeah, no, we don't, right? As much as we wish we did, we really don't, right? So, the weather here in San Antonio, well, it's hot, right? So for the majority of it, it's going to be hot. Now, of course, we have our rain, right? We have our winter months as well, but we don't get particular winter months like everybody else does. We don't go into the 20 or negative below, like negative zero type climates. But I will say that it is a pro at the same time that it is hot for the majority of the year. Prime example is that we had a client call not long ago that also wanted to relocate because they had arthritis. Yeah. And so that's something that I really didn't think about. I really didn't consider for someone to want to move here.
For climate purposes.
But where he was in the cold weather. So he said, man, that would just help me out year round. And that's why they made the move to relocate to San Antonio.
Sure. And so we do have, I was kidding earlier about not having 4 seasons. We do, but they kind of, I feel like summer
They're really lackluster.
Yes,
really.
Yeah. And summer pushes into fall a little bit more than I would like. So right now, technically, we are in I think the first week of fall. We are still hitting the low to mid 90s in the afternoons. So that's not fall to me in my definition. It's still a little warmer than I would like for fall. But our summers are going to be hot and humid. fall gets, we hopefully will start getting into some cooler weather now. And our winters are going to be mild, like Frank mentioned earlier. I think, around January, February are our coldest months. We may hit like in the 20s, right? Like in the mornings, but it quickly goes back up to about 60, right?
Yeah, the sun comes out quick,
yes.
and it's very short-lived.
Yeah, definitely. So when you're moving here, you can expect to have more warmer days than colder days.
Yeah. Now, the next item on the list is going to be what the vibe and the culture is compared to other cities.
Sure. And here in San Antonio, I can say right off the bat, we are very family friendly. It's very family oriented. If you even go to the city's website, you will find a tab on there that has a bunch of family friendly activities, and you can find something to do every weekend here with your family.
Right. In my opinion here, I don't want to speak for Alyssa either, but from what we've seen and all the information we've gathered from other clients that have relocated and just conversations on the side, with those that lived in cities closer to ours, from Dallas to Austin to Houston. Really, San Antonio is family friendly. Dallas and Houston are going to be very busy, if you will, as far as the vibe is concerned. So when you're traveling on the road and you're going past the downtown area, you're just going to feel a sense of urgency and a sense of rush, where it is just business, right? Kind of like a New York style vibe. Everybody is on the go. Austin is a very techy and upcoming area. And so that's going to be similar to California in my perspective, just because we have a lot of new tech jobs coming up there as well. But San Antonio really hits that middle level for everyone, because we have not only military families that retire here, but we have people that retire here in general, just because the cost of the affordability, the cost of living, and just the weather itself. And so a lot of pros here, in addition to things like SeaWorld, Six Flags, and just a lot of the zoo, right? One of the bigger ones here in the U.S. And so there's just a lot of positivity when people talk about San Antonio.
Yeah, and I think just besides being family friendly, I think San Antonio is just, in my opinion, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but just friendly in general, right? Like Southern hospitality,
it's a real thing.
Is a real thing here. So I feel like it's a very, like I said, friendly city, very welcoming city to live in.
Right, exactly. And so the last item here that we want to talk about are going to be, what are the hidden costs that anybody should expect when relocating to San Antonio? Now, this can be a range of things to consider. But one thing to consider, not only that if you're looking to purchase a home here in San Antonio, you're thinking about the closing costs, the down payment, and things related to the actual purchase of a home. But we can't forget, you still have to relocate, right? So you still have to move to San Antonio. So that's either transporting your vehicles here, depending on where you live, in or outside the U.S. You have to think about all your items and getting a U-Haul. Are you
hiring a moving company? Are you moving yourself?
Unless you're thinking about starting brand new, which some people have, but everybody's going to be different, right? So right off the bat, what are hidden costs? Those are hidden costs. Yeah, all those are hidden costs that people don't think about right away when it comes to moving.
Sure, just factoring in those moving expenses and what will be needed. And I think something else to consider is pest control, right?
Yes.
And I think that just depends on where you currently live right now, right? If you live in an area where you have, mosquitoes and bugs, maybe little garter snakes or scorpions, then coming here to Texas or San Antonio in general, there won't be much of a difference. But if you live right now somewhere where you don't have to worry about pest control, then that may be something that maybe take you by surprise just a little bit. Especially I feel like here, if you're moving out into a new construction area, new construction has kind of been moving out towards the outskirts of the city.
Sure.
And so there you'll find more, just because they're clearing land, more pests, right? And then just in general, mosquitoes, especially during the summertime, are a real big thing here in San Antonio. So you might find yourself having to call a pest control company or doing pest control yourself.
Right. No, good point. And another thing to consider is the heat again, right? Even though it may be a pro for others, there's just you want to be mindful of how much you're going to have your AC running at the times that you're at your house, right? So if it's constantly running, the wear and tear on those kind of devices from the sun, because you're actively running it, those are hidden costs. So maybe getting a year-round service to
Yeah,
maybe check maintenance, to
maintenance.
check
Yeah.
on your HVAC systems, things of that nature as well. And maybe even irrigation, because it is so hot.
Sure.
You want to maintain your landscaping and have the water running only on the prospective days that you're allowed to, and if not, watering by hand. But
Sure.
it's another item that you're going to have to consider for time and cost, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. So there you have it, guys. Those were the 6 top questions that we get when people are thinking about relocating to San Antonio. So we hope that these answers were able to help you out a little bit.
Right. We hope you had a lot of value from this video. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below or reach out to us. And Alyssa and I would love to assist you with anything real estate related or just general questions you may have. So hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one.